The Chase the Skies drop has only been out for a few weeks, but Mojang has already decided to tease the next one. And then they released it for Minecraft Preview the very next day. I don't know how you feel about that timing, but I absolutely love it. And if Mojang decides not to name the third drop of the year the Copper Dropper, then I might be a little bit disappointed. But anyway, before we dive into the good stuff, make sure to subscribe if you're new, tap the like button, and let me know in the comments what you're most excited for with this new Copper update. To kick off this review, let's start with a few bug fixes that the community has been really concerned about. First, Vibrant Visuals had a little bit of a rocky start. Glow signs had some problems, underwater rendering had some problems, underwater caves were impossible to see anything, and overall optimization was just not great. And I'm happy to report to you that it looks like a good majority of these things have been fixed. Glow signs no longer blind your eyeballs. The view distance underwater is still pretty limited, but I think that's just the nature of the beast. But the good thing about this, we don't have those crazy shadows rendering in the background anymore before the terrain actually renders in, so it looks a little bit more visually appealing. I think it looks pretty cool. And one of the issues I was most concerned about was underwater caves. Before, it was pretty impossible to see anything. And I don't know if this is ultimately the best solution. Having this kind of teal looking fog, I'd love to see a little bit more polish on this part. The other thing that I was concerned about as well was the quality settings of Vibrant Visuals. This is with everything completely maxed out, and before, I couldn't record anything. It looked like a slideshow. This is much better. Blue Jay's very happy. Thanks, Mojang. Another pretty massive issue when the update launched was happy guests were dying when they were flying into the corners, and it appears that that has been fixed. He's smack dab right in the middle of the corner of that wall, and he's happy as can be. Hopefully these fixes make their way into the full version of the game sooner than later, because just a reminder, this is still just a preview, but hang tight, fixes are on the way. Let's move on to the good stuff. Here are all the new features in this Copper drop. We now have a full set of Copper armor and tools, and it's pretty much the same process as every other tool or armor you've ever crafted in the game. You need sticks, you need copper ingots, and you'll get your copper tools, or just your copper ingots to get your copper armor. While this is really cool, and is a brand new armor set in the progression system, it's actually only a stair step between stone and iron armor in tools. So any of the experienced players that are used to jumping from early game straight into iron or even diamond gear, this might not play into progression too much. And honestly, my recommendation for this might be a little bit of a controversial take. I think this should be required to get iron for the first time. It'll give this armor set and tool set a little bit more validity at the very beginning, but after that, I can see most people probably skipping over this unless they want it for a visual, because you can apply all of the armor trims to this copper set, and they look pretty cool. The next new feature we have are copper chests, and those copper chests can be crafted using 1 regular chest and 8 copper ingots, and in its natural state, it will craft it as a regular copper chest, and if you just place it down in the world, it will oxidize over time, just like every other copper block. Oh, and that's one other thing that I missed about copper armor and tools. These don't oxidize, which honestly, I kind of wish they did. It would give us a little bit more variety. I mean, imagine how cool weathered armor would look. I can understand that this might be a little bit difficult to pull off, but I really do wish this was an option. But it's not an option for now, so moving on. These function just like regular chests. You can put things inside of them. You can pull items into a hopper from the copper chest and push items into copper chests from hoppers. When you break them, the contents will spill out just like a regular chest. And pretty much the only difference is this guy right here. This is a copper golem, and boy, oh boy, is the community happy about this guy. You can craft a copper golem from 1 copper block with a carved pumpkin placed on top, and when you do, not only will you get a copper golem, you'll get a copper chest. And just as a side note, the sound design on this, top notch. Mojang, give your sound design team a massive raise. They're so good at this. And the animations on this mob too. Look at him spin his head around and swing his arms back and forth. It's just the best. Absolutely amazing. In addition to these oxidizing, the copper golem will oxidize over time as well, unless you apply some honeycomb to wax the copper golem and chest, at which point they will stay in the current state that they are in. Here's where it gets fun. If I place a waxed exposed copper block on the ground with a carved pumpkin on top, I should have gotten an exposed chest, but I actually made it into a double chest, so let me try that again. So we have the weathered looking golem and the weathered looking chest, and then same thing with this, slightly more weathered and aged, and then last time, fully oxidized. Let me clean up the mess a little bit, and I'll show you what these guys do. I'm gonna place a copper chest right here, and then maybe over in this chunk right here, I'll put a regular chest. And inside of this chest, I'm gonna put this whole stack of sticks. For the moment, I'm gonna use this copper golem spawn egg and give myself a new copper golem, and he's immediately going to rummage through this chest, and you can see that 16 sticks have just disappeared, and he has them in hand, making a beeline straight for this regular chest over here. And now all of those sticks are deposited into this chest, and he's going straight back to pick up another stack of 16. The copper golem will continue to do this as long as there are items inside of that chest. But what happens if I put a chest right here that's a little bit closer? He's going to pathfind to this chest and notice that it's empty and deposit sticks here. However, if I put something else in there and there are no sticks, watch what happens. He's gonna rummage through there and realize, nope, that doesn't match what I'm looking for. And the copper golem is gonna go find the next chest that does have the matching item and then deposit those items in there. This is going to change the game for storage forever. So I'm gonna toss a few more sticks and some carved pumpkins and some more sticks. And then I'm going to spawn a few more copper golems because I want to show you how these work together and maybe some potential issues that I see. The pathfinding is a little bit wonky once you have more than just one or two. They kind of run into each other and get stuck. I've seen one instance already where they've been stuck in a corner and could not move at all. So hopefully this gets polished a little bit more before the release date, but this is day one. So I'm not concerned about it. I've already notified some people. Hopefully this is being looked at. But what you will notice is the copper golems that are carrying pumpkins are going to this chest to deposit them in there, and the copper golems that are carrying sticks will check out this chest first and then make their way over to this one to deposit them here. Now I'm gonna feed this a bunch of different items and set up a few more chests. They will wander around until they find the matching item, with a couple of limitations that I can see being a problem for larger storage systems, which I'm gonna try to work out. Essentially, what they do is search for 10 different chests, and if they don't find a match, they just sit there and idle for about 7 seconds, and then they will go and start searching 10 more chests. And what I have found so far is that their AI is not super smart when it comes to searching beyond the chests that they've already searched. So if a copper golem finds itself in a situation where it's searched all of the chests available, it sits there, it idles, it still has an item in hand, it might just go back through and look through these chests again, just to double check, and then potentially get stuck in an infinite loop where it's not going to deposit anything or pick anything else up. So that's a potential issue. Just for a demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and set up a quick row of chests to demonstrate how their AI is a little bit random, which could be good for some things and not so great for other things, including storage, which is what their intended purpose is. Copper golems will look for a chest in a 32 block horizontal space and an 8 block vertical space. So if I set up something right here, and then one pumpkin in the first 10 chests, and actually I'm just gonna put one in each chest until I'm completely out. So he's got a copper stair. It does not match anything in that chest, and there's already something in there, so he's gonna move on to the next one. So that's number 2, same thing, on to number 3, on to number 4, and so far this is really, really cool. The copper golem goes sequentially in order because the pathfinding is saying, hey, I've already searched through these chests and this is the next one in line, until the copper golem gets to this chest in line with that block right there. This is number 10. He didn't find anything, and so copper golem sits idle, and I would expect that maybe he would go to this chest next, which he does, and that's great. Maybe we'll continue going on down the line. That's awesome. That's 12. Now the copper golem's gone back to 9. If I want to set up a row of chests like I would a normal storage system and have hopper, and sorting systems and all sorts of stuff on down the line, the copper golem's not necessarily going to follow this entire row all the way to the last chest to deposit the items. It's just going to search the first 10 chests that it finds, and that may not be in order and may cause some potential problems. Again, I don't have a solution for this yet, but I'm sure gonna try in another video. Now, I've got some ideas. I don't know if they're gonna work just yet, but we'll have to see. There's one more thing that I want to point your attention to that has nothing to do with copper or the copper golems. In the announcement trailer for this drop, some eagle-eyed viewers have pointed out that there's a brand new berry, and it looks like a blueberry, and I'm totally cool with that. This is all speculation at this point, So who actually knows, except for Mojang? But it does lead me to believe that this is not all we're going to see in the next update. Copper Golems are just the beginning. But be sure to stick around the channel because as soon as I find out, I'm going to let you know. And I'm going to be having a lot of fun designing some cool contraptions with these guys. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Thanks for checking out this update video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.